The main battle tank MBT was a key missing piece for the Ukrainians as they fought off the Russian invasion. Adding MBTs alongside modern infantry fighting vehicles (IFVs) such as the 109 Bradleys transferred by the United States and the 40 Martyrs promised by Germany, and mobile artillery make up the lethal trinity of modern mechanized warfare. The MBT's heavy armor, speed, 120mm main gun and thousands of machine gun rounds make it an invaluable assault asset. They can work in spite of enemy shell fire to destroy armored vehicles and concrete barriers, all roadblocks for Ukraine as they fight this year against Russian troops dug in along the road to Crimea and the Donbass. Ukraine's path to reclaiming its territorial sovereignty lies in leveraging machines rather than sacrificing people. This requires assistance from abroad. NATO's hesitance to supply more equipment will allow Russia to strengthen its grip on stolen territory and regroup for new offensives. In order to continue to gain an advantage in the eastern steppes and get close to Crimea or stop a major Russian counterattack, the Ukrainian military will need a large number of new tanks immediately. With its defense industry badly damaged by months of Russian missile attacks, Ukraine has two main routes to acquire the additional MBTs it needs. One is to procure and modernize the dwindling stockpile of Soviet-era tanks scattered across Eastern Europe and search for remaining 125mm smoothbore munitions, or they can be obtained from the handful of non-Russian facilities vulnerable to covert Russian action. NATO MBTs, the German Leopard 2 and the American M1A1 Abrams. The Korean K2 Black Panther MBT would be a dark horse candidate given the commitment of the existing Hyundai rodent production line to Poland and the reluctance of the Korean government so far regarding direct arms transfers to Ukraine. Several U.S. lawmakers have been pushing hard to send M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine, which would overcome Germany's reluctance to transfer or allow others to deliver the Leopard 2. Reports suggest that this move may be coming soon. Critics of U.S. tank deliveries have pointed out the difficulty of maintaining the Abrams and the Leopard's greater versatility. But a mix of the two, using Abrams as an interim solution and Leopard as a longer-term solution, can be very effective and timely. NATO's own deployment shows these figures generally align with reality. U.S. Army 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team deployed 4 battalions with 87 M1A1 tanks, 136 Bradley fighting vehicles, and 20 Paladin 155mm self-propelled howitzers, and that was for collateral deployments that were not offensively oriented operations. The Leopard 2 is a popular NATO MBT outside the United States, with nearly 2,000 units in service in more than a dozen current and prospective alliance members. This is, in part, a legacy from Germany offering competitive prices for a solid base capacity kit. The Leopard 2 was the first NATO tank to use the 120mm smoothbore gun, which offered longer barrel life and the ability to fire anti-armor rounds at a higher rate and was more lethal than its 105mm gun predecessors. Its MTU turbo diesel engine is efficient and reliable, but finding the 300 of them that aren't active yet, or that can be quickly reconditioned, will be a daunting task. Until the recent agreement, the current German government spent months looking for reasons not to transfer the Leopard 2 to Ukraine while also failing to authorize transfers from other Leopard 2 carriers that required Berlin's permission to re-export tanks acquired from Germany. Poland is now pushing to create a coalition of tanks that will seek German approval to re-export the Leopard 2 to Ukraine, but Poland will send them regardless as long as multiple countries participate. However, the issue of European collective action on tanks, combined with the urgency of keeping Ukraine's momentum going in its fight to keep Russian troops out, suggests that a new approach is needed. The Ukrainian armed forces may eventually choose the Leopard 2 as their long-range tank, but they will need the Abrams to fight and win the war they are in now. It is the only modern Western tank where hundreds can be moved in a few months. Consider the raw numbers. The US military has about 3,500 M1A1A2 tanks, according to estimates from the International Institute for Strategic Studies IISS. In addition, the United States Marine Corps is divesting the 450-unit Abrams fleet as part of a long-term strategic reorientation to the Pacific conflict. More than 300 of these tanks have been transferred to the Army, and the rest are stored overseas and on maritime preposition ships scheduled for transfer this year.